listening on the radio about people posting on social media their feelings about the Middle East conflict. My goodness, where to start? Now, I was a travel writer at one time, and I went to Jordan. And the Jordanians told me that there was a time that there were no borders. And King Hussein decided to settle the people down and have them go to school. And so there became borders. I guess this may have been when Israel became a state. And Jordan, they said that they took their best land, which was the West Bank, and they severed it off, or put a line there, and that was for the Palestinians, so they'd have a good fertile place. Okay, so that's what I know from the Jordanian point of view. Now, from the Israeli point of view, they were a people that didn't really have a homeland anymore, and they were the Holocaust, millions were killed. And so after the war was over, it was decided by the winning parties that there should be a state. And since there was originally a spot, it was called Israel, that's what they got. And I have mixed feelings on this. One of my feelings is that, okay, yes, they needed a place where it was their own. But my other feeling is that these people that lived there before, that have been living there for, I don't know, 1,000 years, 2,000 years. Anyway, when they lost their homes, the Palestinians. They were forced to move or suffer the consequences. And so my feelings about this are, okay, say you live in a state or a province, and okay, let's say Arkansas. Okay, so from now on, all the Mexican people that have no place, or Venezuelan, or some people that can't live where they are, we're going to give them Arizona or Arkansas or Wisconsin or Georgia. And everybody else that lives there, you can't live there anymore. Well, you can stay, but you can't have your house, and you can't, so you're going to give it all up. And I don't think you get any money for anything. And so all these people then come and move into your state, and you no longer have a house or whatever, and they get your land, they get your stuff, and you're left out. And what do you do? What do you do? How do you start over? And yes, these people need a place, but what about you? Are you not a person too? And so this whole conflict is very strange. And now, of course, you cannot say anything negative about Israel because that's anti-Semitic. And that's really bad. You can't be anti-Semitic. But you can be anti-Palestinian. I don't understand. How come you can be, that should be, taboo also. So I understand the feelings of the people that want their land back. They've been driven out. And their brothers in religion who are on their side, And so I understand why the terrorist attacks have happened so much. I understand why Israel doesn't want terrorist attacks. But, what did they expect? You know? It's like if you give your child's bedroom away and all the stuff that you own, and he has to be somewhere else. Maybe he has to go outside now. Well, what's he going to do? You do that to an animal, a cat. They're going to be jealous. They're going to fight. They don't want, we're territorial people. Everybody's territorial. And it's nice if you're not, if you can just ignore all of that. Anyway, so when I hear that the US is backing Israel to the teeth, and meanwhile they're slaughtering thousands of people. I mean, if it's an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, which it appears to be, they live by the Mosaic law over there. It's not like it's a Christian law where they turn the other cheek. It's you mess with me, I'm going to bulldoze you or whatever. And now they've got, it's like a prisoner of war camp, this Gaza, and to hem them in on all sides. And I mean, it's just, it is a genocide, oh, well, we're not targeting these people, but they all live on top of this place. And so we're going to bomb the place and everybody is on top of it. And so now, what do you think is going to happen? Like, you think you're going to get the support of all the world? Like in China, they've been doing genocide on there's people there, that a small group of people that are being trained not to be whoever they are. I can't remember the name. Anyway, and that my dear sweetheart phoned. He saw me live in Canadian Tire. Thought he'd call. Anyway, so my feelings on the subject is that we should live in peace with one another. And I don't know, perhaps Israel is justified in how do you, the right to defend yourself is different than massive slaughter. And I just think, why is the United States backing this? I mean, they're saying nicely, well, we should really be this and do that. But meanwhile, Israel's doing whatever it wants. And do you think that anti-Semitism is going to stay where it is? It's going to not rise. I think that you've already got all these Nazi groups out there and anti-Semitic, and man, this is just going to add fuel to the fire against them. It was terrible that a lot of people came in and did all that, slaughtered people there. But they've certainly now avenged themselves. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. They've killed 3 times as many people as were killed there. And so I just think that this is going to pull in the entire Middle East, and China is backing Iran, and Iran's got long-range things now, and other ones have long-range things. And, the U.S. is going to be a target. I don't think we're just going to be, Canada, they're also here. I'm not sure if they're backing Israel or not, but I think that they do. But, the Palestinian people don't deserve to be slaughtered because they've got a bad government and it does terrible things. I don't know. Maybe they could just get in the tunnels and gas the tunnels. Of course, then the bad guys will get out of the tunnels and go home to their families, and then they bomb the whole family, the whole apartment building if somebody... It's just such overkill. It's just such overkill. Anyway, I think it's important to love our enemies and bless those that curse you and do good to those that despitefully use you. And, it was, if you want to you got to keep your intelligence stuff protected so that the bad guys don't come in and do bad things to you, I don't know. It's just such a strange situation. But, if the United States has spent a lot of money already in Ukraine, and now with Israel. And what happens? I mean, China still wants to take over the world, and they're going to attack Taiwan at some nice time. So is the U.S. really going to have enough firepower left to defend that one? And then there's also, Russia with, who's backing Russia? Is it China that's behind Russia? And, like, I don't see that the United States is going to get left alone. If they pursue helping Israel slaughter the Palestinians, the whole world is going to be against them. I mean, this is terrible war crimes. This is a lot worse than Putin. Well, maybe it's the same. But I just foresee a whole lot of bad stuff. And I know that there's a lot of prophecy about bad stuff in the scriptures, And we're seeing some of that happening with the weather situation, all this stuff playing out. But you can't stand on a manure pile and smell like a rose. And I don't think that the United States supporting Israel is a good idea. That's what I think. I think that Israel is not doing a nice thing. And that anti-Semitism is going to rise through the roof. And, you've got, world opinion, so Israel is trying to play up what horrible thing happened to them so that people won't look at what's happening in Gaza. But to cut everything off from this group of people and not let them out and then just bomb them, it's like a concentration camp. How can you do that? How can you possibly be God-fearing and do such a thing? It doesn't make sense to me. And it does look to me like the whole world is going to get drawn into this. The whole Arab nations are going to go against Israel. And the U.S. is going to be right in there. And the long-range missiles are going to come right over to the U.S., And everybody's going to get sucked in, except maybe South America. You might be all right in South America. But anyway, don't just pray for their peace, but pray for their righteousness too. Well, yes, everyone needs to do good. And I guess war is always horrible. But I think everybody has a right to live, and war crimes are not okay. And terrorism isn't okay, but I don't think the U.S. is making the right choice in backing Israel right now, because they're just going to get painted with the same brush as Israel. The fact that they're diplomatically trying to get them not to do so much damage and to be nice, I don't think that's going to be voiced throughout the world. I don't think the whole world is going to see that that's what the U.S. is trying to do. It's just the U.S. is with Israel. So Israel is flattening Gaza and destroying people, and oh my gosh, it's just beyond horrible. And for the U.S. to be part of that is going to be a bad thing for the U.S. They're already saying death to the U.S., but death to America. But I just, we're not as far away as we used to be. Used to be that wars didn't happen anywhere over here because they were all over there, but now they got long-range things and they can come over here. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the matter. So in Isaiah 54, well, if I had a scriptures here that was not on my phone, I would look it up. Isaiah 54. Is that the one about Jesus and as a lamb before the slaughter? As dumb as a sheep going to the slaughter. And for our stripes, with his stripes we are healed. All we like sheep have gone astray. I can't remember which one that one is. You can read it when you get home. Okay, then. Anyway, and I was thinking, well, what got the Jews into the situation they're in the first place? And maybe it goes back to crucifying the Savior. Maybe that's where it all started. And then the next thing that was there was, what else did they do? There was something else. They crucified the Savior. Oh yeah, and then there was the Catholic Church. It used to be that if you were Catholic, you couldn't work for, like Catholics. Remember when John F. Kennedy became president, and the fact that he was a Catholic was quite amazing that he got to be president. I'm not sure what the Catholics, but what they had to do with that. Maybe I'm just getting all my groups mixed up. Anyway, trust in the Lord and do good. And love your enemies. And my goodness, in the United States, there's such hatred between groups. The group of the far right hate the lefts, and they're saying how horrible the people on the left are, but the people on the left aren't out to get the people on the right. It's just such a strange thing. Everybody is at war verbally, and civil war is, I don't know. Anyway, without a speaker in the House, I thought that was kind of good, because then they couldn't pass any bills that would send money to help the U.S. fight with Israel. I mean, it's going to be pretty bad if they don't like the U.S. And now they're just going to hate them much worse, and they're powerful. Anyway, if I don't know, if you had all been kicked out of your state and I was now in that state, I think I'd feel pretty bad about having kicked you guys out, But it doesn't seem like they feel bad about that, or that they're compassionate about that. It just seemed to be mean and bulldozing people, and now bombing the heck out of everybody in sight, and apartment buildings. And I mean, it is like Ukraine, only it's so much worse, because nobody can get away. Nobody can go anywhere. Anyway, so those are my thoughts on the subject. And I will go home and read Isaiah 54. And I know that much has been prophesied, and Armageddon is going to happen. I don't think it's Armageddon yet, but the Lord does know the end from the beginning. And I just hope that, I don't know, I hope we survive it all. I'm glad I'm as old as I am. I'm really glad as old as I am. I would not want to be young and have to deal with all this stuff. But on that terrible note, have hope. Live each day to the fullest. You are loved. Everybody is loved. Palestinians are loved. Israelis are loved. Arabs are loved. Muslims are loved. Christians are loved. Heavenly Father loves us all. We're his kids. He loves us all. Doesn't want us fighting with each other. But he loves us unconditionally, and he's waiting for us to choose the right stuff. And we make a lot of bad choices on the way to making good choices, and bad choices lead to wisdom. Wisdom is the consolation prize for messing up. Anyway, I love you guys. I'm gonna go and drive again. Talk to you later. Bye.